have to run full speed while the other bankers are walking, so I can be almost on the same pace.
When you're feeling like you're tired, like you actually cannot take another step, your physical body is actually at about a 50% of capacity of what you've done.
99.9% of people around me is like, you're silly, you're stupid, you're wasting your time. They take you among 20 diplomats, and they leave all those people who are much more capable than you.
What is your mindset when it comes to investing in businesses or, supporting those who are creating and building? Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Welcome to the Caravan podcast, Mustafa.
Thank you, bro. Thank you so much. It's my pleasure. Thank you so much.
Well, I will say, I had quite the introduction ready for you today, but I will say the one that is the surprising one is that when you walked in, you are a ball of lights. Oh my goodness. So I think that is the best introduction, is your smile and the energy that you bring into a room before even saying a word. But beyond that, for the listeners or for those who are tuning on Spotify, I would say this episode is definitely worthwhile watching on the video cast, is that Mustafa, you have an incredible background from pharmacy to diplomacy to now in the venture space, and now you're being an entrepreneur yourself. Yeah. I mean, I'm excited to kind of investigate your journey and hear how you got to where you are and really what drives you. So with that, we'll just go kind of get started here. So we're here in New York City, of course, leading up to Habibi Tech later this week, which we saw that you're speaking at as well. So we're really excited to tune in and hear more about that. But we would love to kind of hear your origin story, the early parts of your life that really led you to, I guess, pursuing the career path that many of us in the Muslim diaspora, whether it be any cultural background, falling into healthcare or engineering or law. Exactly. What led you to pharmacy?
It's it's a very tough time in your teenage time when you have to decide a specialization, and you think you have to be stuck there forever, right? That idea scared me. I go back always to when I was 6 years old. When my family asked me what you want to be when you grow up, I used to say 5-6 things. I want to be an engineer, a football player, an astronaut. Anything comes in my mind. And every time they tell me, oh, you cannot be all of this. You have to pick only one. As a 6 years old boy, I had to conform. I had to, choose one identity, but it was tough for me. So I struggled from 6 to 16, 10 years, struggling to choose one, like a 1-year engineer, probably. And then I met an ambassador when I was 10 years old. And I was like, wow, this guy is magnificent. I love him. But I didn't know what he's doing. I didn't know Diplomat, what it would be and what to do. So I kept just changing identities in my dreams until the time I had to decide. I was 16, I had to decide, is like the deadline, and I have to choose one thing. I was like, okay, to make it easy for me, how about choosing my passion now? Just now. I don't care about anything else in the future. And my passion at the moment was chemistry. So I said, okay, where is that specialization that you can study all types of chemistry? Pharmacy. Great, let me do that for 5 years, and then let's see what will happen after that. So I went with that mindset and that mentality, which I think sounds stupid and silly at the time, and also illogical, unpractical for my parents and my dad. And then, let's see, I just, kept exploring. I went to pharmacy. I enjoyed pharmacy for 5 years, chemistry, all types. It's something I was excelling at, so I was enjoying studying. Until the time came and I'm just graduating. And I had to look back to that dream, like, do I see myself as a pharmacist all my life? And like the answer is no. And no way I can be locked up in I love it, but not forever. So I had to find a plan. I had to find an old dream. I had to, and come up with a plan. Very interestingly, I decided that I need to be in the highest spiritual status ever when I'm deciding. And I choose, the next Ramadan is where I decide. So I waited, I think, for 7-8 months.
And you're in Egypt at this time.
I was in
correct?
Egypt.
And how old were you?
At that time, I was 22.
Okay.
So I grew up traveling with my parents a lot. So it was mostly Middle East. I was in Jordan, Iraq, Saudi Arabia. I was in Zanzibar and different places in Africa.
Was that because of your father or your mom's work? Or?
Yeah, my dad used to work in the government. He used to travel a lot. And so I mostly didn't grow up in Egypt, except when I went back to the university time. So I stayed there for a while. And yeah, I had to start to work as a pharmacist. I had to be good at something that maybe I don't want to stick to for long, but I had to be good. So coming to the idea of how to find a purpose in the career until you leave it. So I found a purpose, how to relieve people pain. I just took it from that simple perspective. I want to relieve people pain. So I have to be very good at what I'm doing until I escape that career. Again, back to the Ramadan idea, I had to reflect and, hopefully seek God guidance on this. The decision was to go for diplomacy.
So before you go into that, you have mentioned something that, having to be good.
Yeah.
Could you expand a bit more why that was such a central point for you on your passion being a driving factor of this, but also the reasoning why that requirement of being good and how you define that?
Yes. Well, growing up, we mostly have insecurities, right, in our characters. One of my insecurities, the low self-esteem, and I was so shy, very shy kid, So the idea was, on the other side, the spiritual part and the religious part, there was this hadith for the Prophet ﷺ. Very important. And I grew up learning and reflecting on this hadith for years and years. There's that hadith when somebody say, oh, I did this, so I deserve Jannah. And God say, no, you did this for people to say that you did it. You were good at this because, and it happened and, you got it. So now it's punishment because you didn't do for God, for
the
Allah.
sake of Allah. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
So I had that always in my mind, is what's inside should be exactly what is outside. So again, if I want to show a picture that is not true, that's not the right thing. So how to be good? So I work very hard on being good and what I'm doing. I didn't expect I would be good in pharmacy, but I had to be. I thought, no, if you're doing this for 1, 2, 3 years, you have to be good. So people should come to you to ask your advice until you leave it. Luckily, it didn't take a long time to do so because I knew I had to give the right advice. If I don't know, I have to say I don't know, and I go back and find the answer and build on that. That helped me a lot early in my career as well.
So now it seems like a really important central point, right? Like within our deen of like focusing on ihsan and excellence and the things that we put our time into, because at the end of the day, those who are Muslim and non-Muslim, when they see us, we are reflecting an identity that is what it doesn't mean to be Muslim, right? And I think we're in an era where we're getting a little bit comfortable of like quiet quitting, right? As in the corporate spaces, but at the same time, we're being reflective of our deen, right? If we're really good employees or employers, people reverberate that and say like, man, I love hiring Muslims because of this and this and this, right? So you're going through now, you're 22 years old, you've done your time in pharmacy, and you're now contemplating a career change and reinventing yourself. And this leads into diplomacy. How did that passion spark?
I look back to one of the old dreams. I mentioned that guy. I saw him when I was 10 years old, and the guy was fascinating. I don't know what I understood from speaking to him, but I don't know, this encyclopedic personalities that know a lot of things about many things. The guy was so kind, full of kindness. He was so handsome, so big. It's like, wow, I would love to be like this guy. So I asked, what this guy is doing? Is ambassador? Is a diplomat? What ambassadors do? I didn't know much, but I had that dream always there. So when I was like between 14 and 16, I say, okay, let me start preparing to be a diplomat. So it was like, what a diplomat need to know to be a diplomat. So I asked, like, what are the questions? And I got a list of questions. I knew none of them, and none of those answers. But I said, whatever I can do now, let me do it. Capital of the world, let me study all the capitals of the world. So my summer would just focus on studying, getting the atlas and the maps and studying all the capitals of the world. Whatever general information that can be helpful in history, whatever, I would just go after it and study. And then the switch in heart when I would say, okay, let me do chemistry. To be honest, I didn't want also to study political theories. I hated economy, and I was like, it's not for me. And I believed a good diplomat is in practice. This is what I believe. Like, if you really want to be a good diplomat, you have to be a diplomat, and probably study in university is not the perfect thing to do to be a diplomat. So I had to learn and practice. So what happened is I had to devise a plan. After deciding in Ramadan, I knew this is for me. I got some messages and signs from God telling me that I'm on the right track and the right path. Very interesting. Like, people come to you and telling you something about, like your dream, and you don't know about what you're doing. Like a pharmacist that he doesn't know about my dream and tells me, Mustafa, probably I don't see you here. Okay, what do you mean? Like, we're all pharmacists here. And I say, I see you a diplomat.
Wow.
He said, I swear to God. I swear,
wow.
Allah. And it's like,
you're in my head.
and I thought, okay, it's a compliment.
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah. That was the last semester. Okay. And while I was just reflecting, never told anybody, even my family. And then a month later, I met him and he said the same. I was like, I don't know what to say, actually. I don't really know what to say. So fourth time, we already graduated, coming back to school to get our degrees, the certificate, and I already started working. So I saw him again. And he said, Mustafa, when I see you, I have this feeling. I say, why are you saying this? Did somebody tell you, I want to be a diplomat? And I say, I don't know. Whenever I see you, I just want to tell you this.
Oh, wow.
I took this as a sign, right?
Yeah.
Was another sign. One Jummah prayer, and was very close to my workplace, the pharmacy that I was in. And normally I pray Jummah close to home. So that Jummah I prayed there. So I'm sitting there in the khutbah, and the imam is saying something very incredible. For example, if you want to be an ambassador.
It's so crazy.
Somebody is here. If you want to be an ambassador and it's your dream, read one full Quran from A to Z, and dedicate it to that. I swear I went out and I started the reading from A, and I say, I have to finish it in the shortest time ever.
Subhanallah.
So subhanallah, there were many of those signs coming to me. And it was like, because, there are, 1,000 people around me, and specifically saying, if you want to be an ambassador, I doubt.
No, it's like so interesting. I love how like there are moments in time, especially at Khutbah Jummah. I flike it's always something with Khutbah Jummah. Sometimes when they're giving this talk, it's like they're directly talking to you. It's like it was meant for me to hear it, and not just hear it, but internalize it in a way that drives me towards the next action.
Exactly.
So that's it. That's an amazing story, and these are signs, right, that we have to act on.
And I think on the moment of signs is that a theme that I'm seeing with you is that your willingness to seek conversation with Allah Subhanahu wa Taala.
Yes.
And you're wanting it to be two ways.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So many times people fall into the trap of it being one way. And the one way being that they are only wanting God to come to them.
Yes.
Right? And there's the hadith of saying if you reach for your hand or if you crawl towards Allah, Allah will come running towards you. 100%. And I think when we talk about signs, right, and of Allah and all these things, it's our lack of ability to be aware to take those things in.
True.
And what's remarkable of your experience is that you're eager and you're waiting and you're going to the places where you can find those messages, right? Going to Jamaat, right? Or surrounding yourself with people who are godly, right? Who pursue God. And I think that is what's remarkable is your ability, like, all right, I have, and you know, that's so incredible, because you mentioned how you didn't tell anybody. The only person you told is the only person that controls your entire destiny, and it's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's who you went to.
Exactly.
Right? And I think that gives us such a sincere amount of trust on where you're putting your journey on.
Exactly.
And I think that is something that's really remarkable. It's that your willingness to stay open to feedback from the one and only, right? So you hear this khutbah.
I will tell you something, because if we dive deeper a bit into this, I think was very instrumental when I was young enough to be tested a lot and to be challenged a lot, and try to, how to say, I mean, we are young, you know, when you're 15, 16, 18, you know.
So in your youth.
Exactly. It's a tough time.
Yeah.
And, you know, there is a surah, ayah in Quran, like, حَسِبُ النَّاسَ أَنْ يَقُولُوا أَمَنَّا وَهُمْ لَا يُفْتَنُونَ. Like, you know, you'll be tested if you claim faith and iman, right? You'll be tested. So I got tested a lot in that early time, and I knew by experience, no, I have to, you know, I have to seek that path. And I'll give you another story on that. I was in the third year of pharmacy. I was doing quite well, not bad. I was doing well, studying very hard. Blah, blah. I came to an exam where I was studying so good that I could, you know, get A, easy, and then I did horrible in in the written exam. Horrible. Like, I went out, I was so sad, so upset, so angry, and I felt like I was just complaining. I was like, you know, rejecting the idea that I couldn't make it. I think for the whole day I was so angry. The next day I was supposed to have the oral exam. So for the first time, I thought of seeking help of somebody. Like, I never called somebody for the oral exam, even if I knew somebody, and I say always I ask God help, and I will never ask somebody to help me. And in that weak point, I thought, oh, how about calling that lady? She might help me tomorrow for the oral, because I'm failing, right? And in that moment, I'm getting the phone, I'm calling that lady, and I turn off, and I thought, wait a second. You did your best, right or wrong? Yes, I did my best. So you're not upset from yourself. You're upset from the result, right? Yeah. If you're upset from the result and you did your best, you're upset from God. Okay? It's time for punishment. You don't call anybody. Go tomorrow and fail. So I did this. I tried to study a bit, but I was so emotional, I couldn't really focus. I went the next day to the oral exam. I went to normally you have external professors coming from another city, so you never know them in life. So I met that guy. I was like, where did I see that guy? No, I saw that guy before. And I started remembering. So it happened that I met him 7 years before that day in close to the beach, in a camp, summer camp, where families are together, you know. I didn't speak to him personally because I was 15 at that time or so. And somehow I remembered him, his daughter names, and I told him, oh, you know, we met together, we were there in that place, and your daughter, you know my daughters? Yeah. What's their name? And I just remembered them because I forgot, and I told him. And the whole interview went to another level. The guy asked me all the questions he wanted to ask. I answered all the good answers. He say, for the first time ever in 5 years, he say, I will give you the score that you write down. If you want 70, I'll give you 70. And I was like, I don't know, thank you. I was like, he say, okay, I will give you the high score I ever given my life, 68 out of 70. Are you happy? I was like, oh, thank you so much, you know. And I just went down so happy, so grateful to God. I was giving, you know, money to the, you know, I was so happy. So that experience taught me, you see, if you look for God help, it's the only oral exam that I know the result. It's the highest ever had. Yeah. And I passed the whole, you know. So that experience, among others, taught me, don't go for people, you know, don't go for God. go for God. So early in life, alhamdulillah, it helped me to do so. So back to that part, is like, okay, I'm only talking to God. I will not talk to my family because they might say no or put pressure on me. So let me talk to God. And alhamdulillah, those signs put me on the right path. Let me know that I'm on the right path. So every single day, because I started at some point telling people, right? Because I needed more time to study and my work, so I needed to tell people. So 99.9% of people around me is like, you're silly, you're stupid, you're wasting your time. You think you're a pharmacist. You know, it's a competition, national competition, 2,000 people. You think you're a pharmacist, they take you among 20 diplomats, and they leave all those people who are much more capable than you. So every day I had that conversation inside me. So every day while I'm studying in the evening, do you think, they choose you, pharmacist, like the same as they say, and, leave all these people? And then I ask another question. Is it impossible for God? In the same moment I say, no, it's not. Then focus on what you have to do. All the time, I come to this conversation every day. Is it impossible for God? No. Then focus on your part. So every day I kept repositioning myself again around this. It's not impossible for him, so I just have to do my part. And I think that was very instrumental in the emotional journey, because it was 3.5 years. I failed in the middle.
Wow.
So I couldn't do it because it's a competition every year. And then people look at you. Oh, we told you, Hey, we told you. You're silly. So I had to realign myself. I had to look back to all the signs that God sent me to prove to myself whether this is for me or not. And if it's for me, I'm going to die for it. Mm-hmm. And then the other level is how you connected with a purpose. If pharmacy purpose was, I want to help people to be relieved in pain, the simplest thing. As a diplomat, I want to represent my country in the best possible way. I want to represent my religion in the best possible way. I want to represent my culture and being Arab in the best possible way. Mm-hmm. So I was always on this mission. No, I'm not only doing this because of fun, because I want to travel. No, because also I have to represent my culture, my religion, my country in the best possible way. And I put this always there. So when I was tough moments, very tough moments, I remember that. And it was the only hope I have to cling to. Yeah.
How do you balance help from dunya and help from Allah, right? Like when you're going through these challenging periods, when do you know how to reach out for help?
That's a good question, because it's very challenging. And then I think borders are very important.
Yeah.
Right? So ask for help. Well, I mean, in general, we learn in school that asking for help is cheating, right? In life and in business, it's not true.
Yeah.
Like, you really have to ask for help. So ask for help can be asking for an advice, right? So, for example, what I did is I asked anybody who knows anybody around this diplomacy thing. And I got to know 3 or 4. And I went to meet them. I think 2 before the written exam. It was 11 exams in 5 days. And then when you pass that competition, from 2,000 to 150, and then there are a few other selection processes until the final interview. So I had to meet more people. So I could find more people and sit with them and ask them all the questions that I need. I think that's a fair go out and ask people for help. But I decided I will never ask for help in a final interview. I will not ask anybody to refer me. I'm the final interview is fun because you are with probably the foreign minister is there and 10 to 11 deputy ministers. Yeah. So it's very tough, because you sit on one side of the table and then you have all those 10 on the other side. Some of them are very well-known public figures. They come on TV all the time. And then you are just 25, So what do you do? So most of the people try to ask for help to be referred to this group. So if somebody knows somebody that knows you, okay, maybe, But I decided, no, I'm not going to do this. I will do my best. I will ask only God for help in this. And hopefully, inshallah, with God's help and grace, I will be there very competent. I will answer all the questions, which is impossible. And that's what happened. Was tough time, was very tough, but luckily I answered all the questions. And we can speak about this as another sign as well.
Yeah, I think it's that balance, right? It's not leaving a lot out of that conversation, right?
Yes.
Like always going back first, and then when you're having that, then you're kind of keeping it as a center point as you're seeking guidance from others, right?
Yes.
They're not the decision element, but
Yes.
it is like you're mentioning about your fellow pharmacist who's like, hey, I was a diplomat, right?
Yeah.
You seek it from Allah first, and then Allah's like, okay, I'll show
Refer you to
yeah. I'll show you,
tools
some of my agents
Exactly.
that can tell you. Just be keen on hearing it.
Exactly.
So okay, you're going into your diplomacy era, which is not an easy role to get, and I think you're being very humble, which is great. But being a diplomat is a very competitive and extremely hard thing to achieve. Did you ever doubt yourself? Like, yes, you're getting this validation, but was there a moment you're like, okay, I got all these signs, right?
Yes.
But was there a moment where you're like, maybe I'm not supposed to be a diplomat?
Yes. So when it was 18 months of exams, right? So I finished the first part and wait 6 months, and then they announced the last 150, and then we go for a few others, and then at the end they took 30. So I'm flying. I'm so happy. I'm so grateful to God. It was a big moment of my life because I proved I could do it. Second, I proved a lot of other people wrong. And I proved to myself that, God sent me the messages.
Yeah.
I was destined to have this. I just believed in this. It was my only hope. I tell you a quick story on this, because in one of the written exams, it was August, summertime, very hot. I don't know, in Fahrenheit, 110 degrees, for example. It was so hot.
Average day in Dallas, Texas.
Exactly. And you have 4 hours every day for 5 days. And so it's very tough time to pass every day. The first day you have 3 languages. Second day you have international law, international organization. Third day you have global affairs. The fourth you have economics. And you go on and on.
Wow.
And every day 4 hours. At the end I think 3 hours. But every day you have to prepare for a few subjects. And it includes sleep, commuting to the exam, and then 4 hours, and then back and prepare for the next day. So it went without sleep for quite some time. And on that specific day, in the middle of the exam, and I was very prepared that second exam. I was so prepared that I wrote all the articles, like, let's say, global affairs. Mm-hmm. So I just for 9 months, I built articles myself. I wrote them on every single topic you could imagine. I didn't want to miss any point, because I didn't do it, and I failed in the first one.
And what year was this? This was all happening. Is this like early 2000s or?
That was in 2006.
2006. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was working as a pharmacist and preparing myself to.
So you couldn't like GBT prepare. This is actually you have to like study.
Every day I was gathering information the very old traditional way. You have the newspapers, New York Times, and then the Egyptian newspaper, and then region newspaper, different languages, Le Monde in French, and then bring, and then highlight, and then copy and paste.
You're like Rain Man.
And I had to build this over 9 months. So the last month, I can write anything I want. So it went so well in all the exams, except this one, which for me was the easiest. Global affairs for me is easier than economics. And so to my surprise, that day, I didn't sleep well. I went there to the exam. You have 5 articles, you need to write like 10 page each, and in 3 of them. So none of the 5 I knew, and none of the 5 I prepared. Oh. So that's the first shock. So I had to start, finding tweak things, Second, my hand started shaking.
Oh man.
So maybe from the lack of sleep, I got a medicine that helped me to sleep for 2-3 hours. So my hand started shaking like this. If you give me the pen, I was just using the pen like this. And then I started shaking. So it was 3 hours. So the second hour, the third hour, I'm like this all the time. So people coming, oh, sorry, what happened? And somebody give me paracetamol or whatever. So I knew in this moment that I would faint, I would die. There's no way, and I couldn't even write very fast. My brain was already,
So it's probably because your nervous system is probably on fight
collapse.
mode the whole time. Right?
It's full collapse.
Yeah.
But I say it was the second time and almost the last time that if I fail, I wouldn't make it. If I didn't make it in this exam, that's it. So I just kept, clinging to the pen and trying to draw like this in this way for 2 hours. I'll tell you, I swear, I don't know what did I write because I was writing with a fraction of a brain and I wasn't focused. But I just kept writing until the moment comes that I faint, I die, whatever happens. But I say, God, please, Ya Rab.
Yeah.
But at least I will not leave the pen until, God decides something. When I passed that moment, and I told my dad, if I pass this exam, I will make it all the way to the end. I say, why? I say, because I would easily fail that day. Sorry, thanks.
No,
I would fail that day, 100%. And God wanted to tell me, people were just, oh, poor, no one could help. I couldn't even hold a glass of water. Somebody was, and somebody was giving some candies, I couldn't even handle. And when I finished the exam, students around me, took me down. So when I passed that exam, I knew I'm going to make it all the way to the end. So give 200% at the last mile or so. So when I'm in the final oral interview, I say, no, I will give it all what I got. And inshallah, I have to. That insistence, I think, was important. Like God showed me the signs, and I have to insist on this dream. Otherwise, I wouldn't deserve it in God's views.
Yeah, I think one of the things I trained for was a half Ironman about 4 years ago now. And one of the things that my coach told me is that an Ironman's a triathlon, right? Between swimming, running, and then cycling. And so he said you're actually training for 4 events. You got the 3 events that you're training for, and the 4th event we don't know what's going to be. And you'll something will go wrong, a blown tire, whatever it is, it's going to happen, and you just have to push through it. But one of the other things that in training that I had to kind of really understand is like my mental psychology, like your mental endurance. And it's usually that when you're feeling like you're tired, like you actually cannot take another step, your physical body is actually at about a 50% of capacity of what you've done.
Sure.
And so that was kind of my mantra. It's like, hey, you made it this far.
Exactly.
You can still go further. Exactly. And I think in the idea of what you're talking about of, if I can get past this, I can get to the end.
100%.
Right? You didn't come this far to only go this far.
Exactly.
And when you're doing it with a God, Allah-centric mindset,
exactly,
who's going to be against you?
Exactly.
If it's just you and Allah, that's the only teammate you need, right?
Exactly.
So when we talk about reinventing ourselves, going from pharmacy to diplomacy, your family, what are they thinking? Like my son, what
Well, that's a very good, a very important topic as well, right? Because our relationship with our families, wherever we come from, very important, very crucial to our life and our success and blessing of Allah, right?
And before we go into that, I just want to have context here for our listeners and for ourselves. Are you an only child? Do you have siblings or?
I am the eldest.
Eldest. Okay, so there's another layer of weight to it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I have one sister after me and one brother. So the eldest is always expected to carry everything the family have, reputations, dreams, everything, right? And I was always the first in the family. Was a very big challenge. I was always the first to try to break to something or somewhere. So luckily I was the first pharmacist. I was also the first diplomat, and like my brother after me became a commercial diplomat, just following my steps as well. And also my sister went to work in languages, and then she moved also to work in something related to diplomacy as well. So
I was like, first, imagine one and only. Never mind.
Exactly. And for me, it was always I'm the one who's trying the first trial. All right. So when I decided to be a diplomat, the good thing at that time is that my family wanted me to be a doctor. Like they were very specific dream, very specific specialization. And I thought, no, it's not for me. I would study chemistry for now and then see. And then when I decided and I say, well, I want to be a diplomat, I was like, you sure? Like, I was like, how to say? It's scary, like, are you really, wasting your time or what? Then I failed in the middle. And I didn't have enough time to prepare and was the next exam. So, okay, I did well in 10 exams. I didn't do well in economics. So I thought I took this as a sign like, okay, do more economics and then it will be fine and the rest. But then I think their situation, their positions like, I think we think we cannot do it. Probably just continue your dream as a pharmacist and, work in a multinational company and, But again, having that moment of, no, I believe in this. This is my dream. I am willing to give away a lot of money now for my dream, which was the case. I insisted. And when I became a diplomat, it was a big moment of pride for all my family. Like, wow, they kind of believed in me, finally. So it was a very big moment. I always proud of that moment because it's not easy. You have your name in the national newspaper and then you become a diplomat. It's challenging as a journey, but again, you achieved it.
So was your family apprehensive on the switch or the career path? Because you mentioned your father worked in the government to some capacity.
Yes.
So
yes, he's also connected to that world.
Right.
But then, how to say? My dad is between me as a pharmacist, am I able to do it, or no? So it's like a bit of doubts. And,
do you have the actual pedigree
exactly
to be successful to achieve
exactly.
it, or are you just kind of spinning your wheels in mud?
Exactly.
Right? Okay.
And I didn't know. That's why I took quite some time to decide by that Ramadan and make sure, okay, this is for me, and I'm gonna fight for it. And no one will tell me that I don't deserve it. So I needed the signs from Allah, and I work hard on getting those and make sure I'm on the right path. But again, the journey happens again and again and again. We'll talk about the other career reinventions. It's always hard because your family comes to you after, oh wow, diplomacy after this successful career of 10 years. You were here and there and there. You're going to leave that and work somewhere else? And then again after banking. And I was on leave while I was in banking. So it was a bit easier. But when I decided to leave both and start my own business, it was like, no way. And it's fun and difficult time because also you want your parents to be happy, right? And be always proud of you. And at the same time, it's my life. So it is that line. And sometimes parents in general cross that line of, oh, God give me a divine power and write over.
It's hard to explain that to someone else.
Exactly. My kids and their life, right? Their dreams, their things. So, and alhamdulillah, I understood that line very well. I love my parents. I appreciate them and every good thing I had in life because of them. After God, but at the same time, when I decide something, I take long time to decide. It took me long time when I moved to banking, and when I moved from banking to code, like it's again the same process with more experiences. It's still tough.
Yeah.
And I'm ready to fight, including my family. I'm ready to fight. So sometimes those tactics, oh no, I don't bless this move. No, like no, mom. I'm a good son. I'm good to you. All of this. This is my life. I
mean, what's written for you is what's written for you, right?
100%.
Nor we ourselves or parents, no one can stop it. It'll facilitate in its own way.
Yes.
So after diplomacy, what's the? I'm not even going to say chapters because these are. Each of these careers are whole books for individuals. So what was the next book that you're kind of focusing into now?
So diplomacy, I work in Africa, in Malawi, here in the UN, and in China. And in China was the peak of my career. Like the career was always downs, ups. In the beginning, a lot of downs.
Yeah.
And again, as a pharmacist, I have a lot of doubts. Wasn't easy. But then slowly, I started playing on my strength, what I have that others, the career diplomats that have the same major don't have, and it works so well. And then in China was the peak of my career.
How long were you in China for?
10 years.
That's
yeah, 10
incredible.
years.
10 years. I never planned to be there
Yeah.
for 10 years. I never lived in a country for 10 years. But it started as I was in Egypt, the headquarters, as a China desk officer, managing everything. And I just went for a visit to see a friend. That's also another sign, sometimes you
Yeah.
receive signs. I never planned to live in China. I was after Malawi and the short mission in New York. I thought, maybe I would go to somewhere in Europe or somewhere in the region. So that friend called me and he say, come to visit me. And very interestingly, he wasn't a friend until 1 month before. And I was the one who helped him, like, this is China, this is what you need to know about it, the work and life and blah, blah, because I'm the one in charge. So he said, you will come to visit me. You will have to come to visit me. No.
He had a plan.
It's like, and this is a seed I'm planting.
I remember like the last day was his farewell and all his batch with him, and I'm the only one out of his batch, and I just went up to his office to say goodbye, and he said, guys, you have to come to visit me. I'm like, you have to come.
Mustafa.
And that was September 1st.
Yeah.
September 24th, 5th, he called me. Hey, I got an apartment, come. I said, no, come where? Like, China. I said, no way. There's no way. He said, no. Because he was married and his wife wasn't there. He said, it's the only chance before my wife come. We have 1 week holiday. Come. It's like, okay. So my new boss was coming from China.
Yeah.
So I told him, I need a week off. And he said, where were you going? I said, China. What? So I went for a week. I loved everything. And I went back and said, I have to study the language. So I went back for 1 year, study full-time language. Chinese.
While in Egypt.
No, in Beijing. I went
Beijing.
back to, studied the language in Beijing. And then I got 4 years and a half in the embassy. And it was the peak of my career. So the next step was, what's next? I thought I wouldn't repeat this success anywhere else. I don't think I want to continue. Yes, it's fun to be an ambassador, to go to other countries, but I knew I wouldn't achieve that success somewhere else.
And so were you 30 at this point at the end of that chapter?
29, yeah.
29.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, sorry. 10 years after that. So 29 when I was before. But after China, that was 2015.
Yeah.
Around that time. So I was, 30 something. So
Okay.
3, 4, yeah. And then what happened is...
So you kind of hit the pinnacle point of having to be good.
Yeah, I
Right.
thought, okay, all what I believe, all what I dreamed of, I achieved in the last 3 years in China. Like it was struggles, in my career. Malawi wasn't a good experience. I had that accident. It was a lot of struggles and few successes. A lot of struggles, few successes. And slowly, I believed in myself, what I could do, all my ideas. And then somehow that time, everything is aligned. And the last 3 years in my embassy time were boom in China. Boom. Like anything, any diplomat dream of on that high level. Luckily, alhamdulillah, I was doing that when I was still young. So at some point, I thought my last year, I was like, probably I wouldn't be able to achieve more in this career. What's next?
So I want to take a step back, as eager as I am to get to the next portion. You had mentioned you got in an accident before China at Malawi, right?
Yes.
What and that seemed not a bright time in your diplomacy career.
Yes.
Why do you feel that way?
Yeah, but it's very tough time because you are in the beginning of your career. You don't have power, just your hopes and your dreams, and God help you to achieve them. But you're still very, very young, like this in a big institution, and
which is difficult because you've worked so hard to get here.
Yes,
and you're not.
Yes,
feeling like you're doing a good job.
Yes, and I choose very mindfully the first place to work in. For I know what were my weaknesses as a diplomat and what were my strengths. And I was so focused on leveling up my weaknesses. I knew them. So I said, okay, the first thing I have to do is to start my posting fast enough, because you learn a lot out there. And I chose a place like, you have the luxury to choose places in Africa because there is no competition on it. And we have ranking A, B, D, C, D, and it was D. So I chose, okay, Malawi looks like a good country, weather is good. I want to learn everything. Is ambassador plus one diplomat and a whole group of other staff. So you, as a diplomat, you work on everything. You're also the chargé d'affaires, who's the deputy. So it was amazing experience. I worked so hard. I learned a lot. Feedback was coming back very good. And then, subhanAllah, I had that accident. November 20, 2008.
It's like a car accident? Or?
Yeah, big car accident. 2 weeks before that time, I never wear a seatbelt. Never in my life. It was a bad habit. And then suddenly, subhanAllah, I hear that voice. I remember it was somewhere, a gas station, and it was like, where the seatbelts?
SubhanAllah.
I swear to God, alhamdulillah. And I didn't question it. And I never wear it in my life. And it was just, I just put it. 2 weeks after I had that big accident, of course you are inside, you didn't see, but the people who saw it told me. The car, I lost control over the car, and Malawi is, you have,
uneven roads.
Exactly. And then I went out of the road 3 meters high, and then it flew 3 meters, and then it overturned 5 times, broke 9 trees. So inside that moment, I knew it's done. I knew it's I knew, okay, it's time. I hope you, God, inshallah, Allah, you receive me well, you accept me, forgive my sins, and take me, and it's time already. I just thought for a moment my family will be sad, but otherwise, okay, I was ready for that moment. And then I don't know after how long I figured out, oh, I'm still alive. The car is overturned, and I'm hanging from the seatbelt. And it went on a very long time of suffering, physically and mentally and psychologically. Because first, physically, you are in a country that doesn't have, the whole country at that time didn't have one MRI machine. So imagine the level of suffering.
An uncertainty of any diagnosis.
I had to fly to South Africa to just get diagnosed. 3 hours flight to get diagnosed. All that is fine, because I thought it was a tough time, and I thought, oh, if I'm alive, if I should be dead, but if I'm alive, oh, probably I would be destined to go through that suffering for a reason. I don't know if I'm understanding that yet, but it's for a reason. God, wisdom, I'm still alive. He spared me for another life. And accept the suffering that you would go through. So physically tough, but psychologically, because I had a bad boss who cared about himself, and unfortunately he was supported by other people as well. So I went through that suffering for quite some time, and it's sad because that injustice, and you're still young, no one listened to you. And if somebody calls you from, somebody has a bit of power and calls you in 30 minutes off, and you are in the peakest pain, and give you, bad words without listening to it. It was a tough time, but it made me stronger. And I decided I will go always for justice, and I will always fight for my rights and people's rights. Everywhere. The justice for me is a big value before and also after that experience.
Yeah, and I think oftentimes that psychological and mental pain and frustration is far worse than the physical. The physical
100%.
Over time numbs out, but the mental is always on when
100%.
You're sleeping, when you wake up.
Exactly.
It's always there. And, subhanAllah, I feel like these types of moments of where you are just stuck and you have to endure is really the point of sharpening, of preparing you for something greater. And I think it really reminds me of like Prophet Muhammad's story when he's leaving off, right?
Yes.
After being outcasted,
Yes.
rocks thrown,
Yes.
bloody feet, and all of this. And all he's asking Allah, just don't be disappointed at me,
Yes.
right? And I think in this moment, when time goes slow when you're in an accident, and you really get to process things that actually matter to you.
Yes.
Did you gain clarity on more so of who you were in that moment?
Well, no, it was tough time, very tough time. A lot of doubts. I didn't tell my family because I'm away, I'm by myself. So even when I was in South Africa, it was Eid time. And
Fajr or Adha?
Eid Adha.
Okay.
So I was there, and they were out there, doing the Adha thing. And I was, oh, where are you? I said, I'm in South Africa. What are you doing? I'm with my friends, we're enjoying. And I was just in intensive care.
Yeah.
I just had to, get my courage and speak without any problem. Oh, what do you have in your voice? A bit of sore throat. So it was very tough time. Also, the doubt, you are in the corner and you don't have support. And I was like, oh, I had to fight. I knew that I didn't do any mistake. My only mistake is to have a big accident and didn't die. I'm still alive, and I had to fight, and I had to get my right. And alhamdulillah, God, I'm sure He gave me a lot back. Sometimes maybe you don't deserve things by doing more. Sometimes you deserve things by being patient longer, and trying to understand God's wisdom in specific action or something happened in your life that you don't have hand in.
So, man, I could talk to you for a very long time. So I'm going to push on to the next section here a little bit. So going into your third chapter, or your third book here, you hit the peak of your diplomacy era.
Yes.
And now you're thinking, what's next? You see your passion is shifting. Where is that compass leading you towards?
Yes. So the last 3 years at the embassy, I was the focal point of all the Chinese infrastructure project at my home country. So that gave me exposure to many things. And talking a bit practically here, how to seize opportunities. So that was, how to say, a burden for any embassy member that would take care of, because there's nothing you will not get paid for. It's a whole full-time job plus what you're doing. But I took it as, wow, that's fun. I knew nothing about projects. How about learning more? So, and I was managing bilateral relation in general, so I took lead of this. I learned over time. I built that national level list of mega project in billions. And I was the one in charge in presidential visits and ministerial visits. So that opened a lot of doors for me. I built more good relationship with, banks and companies, and in different places, in both countries. And when the time came and I'm deciding what's next in my career, I had a good position back home that I will take that one. But then also I was looking what's next. Like, I really want a big challenge somewhere. I want to learn again, almost from scratch, and and then subhanallah, again the signs come your way. If you're reflecting on something, asking God help, things start coming to you. At that moment, there was a bank called the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank was starting, and I was actually part of the Egyptian delegation that was founding this. We were starting founding meetings in the year before, and it started in January 2016. And it's $100 billion bank. At that time, 57 member states. Now it was 100, I don't know, 6 or 9 member states. And it's just brand new. And it started by somebody telling me, oh, Mustafa, why you don't work in that bank? It's just starting. And you speak Chinese, and you have experience, you have the connections. And I was like, I love New York all the time. I was like, oh, no, I want to go to New York. I want to, go back, work at home, and then go work in the United Nations And then after a week, somebody else doesn't know the first person was actually coming in a delegation. Hey, Mustafa, I think this bank is good for you, because we go and meet all those places, all those banks. I was like, again, the same idea, And then the third person was a bit of different. He told me in another way. So I said, okay, 3 people are telling you in 3 weeks. What does this mean, right? Right? And like the same, right? So, and it's like, you are also going on meetings. Like you have very high level delegations. You're meeting with those, with the delegation, with that bank, with the president, vice president of the bank. I said, okay, what should I do? I don't know. And then on one of those visits, I met a guy that I met 5 years before. Again, nothing is coincidence. I met just 5 years before. He was a diplomat from a European country, and we met on a trip, and we never saw each other again. And I saw him working in that bank. I was, man, what are you doing here? I said, oh, I'm working here. Actually, we were in the founding team, and my government, they seconded me to the bank. So I said, well, probably, okay, it's good for you, but probably this will never happen to me. 1 week after, I had a very big delegation coming, very interesting, central bank. And then after 10 days of amazing trip, very successful, the lady, the head of delegation, very powerful iron lady. So at the end of the trip, she asked me, what do you think about the whole visit? Like she asked me specifically, didn't ask anybody else. So I told her, number one, this is the meeting and that bank is so crucial, very important. So guess what she told me? Told me, you know what? I know somebody like you in this bank. And I was like, really? I told her, okay, listen, I was thinking about this. I got some signs and blah, blah. I asked, and actually the guy told me this and this and this, but I don't think this is the case because my institution will not do this. So the lady, I think, thought about it the day after, on the way to the airport. She said, I thought about that, and I am willing, my institution, that she doesn't know me, it's, I will pay your salary for 6 months in this place. Wow. So it's like, it's like for me, all these are miracles. Yeah. All these are big miracles. And I can go on and on and on, and every miracle happened after that. Anyway, the story, to short it, at the end, they pay my salary for 6 months. I was in that place. My boss at that time, that when I started working with, he was from Singapore. In the beginning, he didn't like me because what would I need with a diplomat? I need a banker. He was the one who say, I want you. Like when I'm done, I want you. Let's sign a contract. And very funny, like the first 2-3 days, like the first day is, like second day, and then after 3 days, he gave me a task, and then I came back to him and like, oh, this is the project, this is the airport, this is what the story behind it is. Like looking at me like, oh, like this. So, and then how long are you here? I say like, oh, 3-4 days. They say, oh, I feel it's 2 weeks. And then after 8 days, he say, how long are you here? Have you been here? I say like 8 days. He say, wow, I feel like 2 months. Okay, I'm going to that country tomorrow. Like, wanna come with me? I say, well, why not? So started from there. A whole new life, a whole new adventure, and it was fun. Was fun.
Well, it's very interesting. I mean, you've done so many like different industries, different verticals, different perspectives, but there seems to be like a uniform framework of approach, right? You go in with an attitude of, hey, I'm going to learn, I'm going to be a sponge and absorb, and then I'm going to come out doing the best that I can and then trust what the result is. I mean, that's the case of every chapter that you've explained till now. But what is like something that our audience that's listening, what is that framework that you, like, how can you put that framework in your own terms so that they can try to replicate this type of behavior? Because it's oftentimes very difficult to go into different industries and have the result be that, hey, I am the best at what I do, to the best of my ability, of course, right? And then lead that impression to where you can convert someone from like, hey, what do I need from a diplomat to, can you please just work with me? Because you're awesome. So like, how can you advise some of our listeners in that capacity?
I had to, when I moved to coaching, I had to think about this because I had to build my methodology, right? And it has to be very practical. It applies to anyone who want to do the same, right? Let's say there is a small or a base of a spiritual part, And there is a lot of logical work and practical work. The spiritual part, I believe we all have a sensor somewhere, and it's our subconscious that's connected to the main server, to the infinite wisdom of Allah. And if you are connecting well and the signal is high enough, you are going to receive a lot of blessings, a lot of gifts, a lot of things. One example, but because also I like by practice, when I was preparing for my oral exam in diplomacy, I had like 4 months and I didn't know what to do, how to prepare. So I say, okay, let me reflect every day for 3 hours or so on the questions. Let me think on the questions that you're going to ask me. And it's like whatever question comes to my mind, I write it down. I don't know the answer, just question comes to my mind. I write it down. So I come with, 10 questions. And then I go, at that time still, Google, try to find, answers and Wikipedia, blah, 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 and then build around it some knowledge. That one question, I go around it. And I kept doing this for 3.5, 4 months. Every single day, I'm just, what kind of questions that I think they might ask me. Blah, blah, blah. I write it down. I went to the oral. To my surprise, 98%, 99% of the questions I got asked were actually ones I, At that moment, I don't know what's happening. I got, the first question. Oh, wow. The first question, July 14, an important date, or like for example Saudi Arabia, when was founded, the year, or the first president of Tanzania, or like questions that you never can prepare for. And then at some point, like I became a diplomat. As always, alhamdulillah, God help, and that's for sure. That's the spiritual or the religious explanation. But there is a logical one. The logical one is that I was trying to connect to the source every single day, and the source gave me all those questions, right? So it inspired me to have all those questions. I wrote them, I play around them, I build knowledge around them. And those guys, they don't know me. When they ask me those questions, they ask you whatever comes on their mind. Yeah. So whatever comes in their subconscious. So again, it's coming from the same source. So it was kind of the source inspired me to think about these questions, and the source influenced them to ask those questions. So I am a believer in this. If you have that connectivity quite high, it opens a lot of doors for you. If I answer the question in a practical way, in a logical way, then when this could happen, you are open. So I have to be more open to the ideas and the results. A small opportunity can bring a big opportunity. So for example, the small opportunity of being the focal point of those infrastructure project at the embassy opened the door to the big opportunity to work in that bank and be in charge of the whole region and do, business development and all of that. If I didn't do this one, I will never take that one. And then when you see things happening in a mysterious way, you know that there's a merciful hand out there is taking care of you. And then at that moment it was so tough. I was like, I just have to prove myself. Like, I know this is happening for a reason. I just have to prove myself. And prove myself means I have to learn so fast. All those jargons in banking, I cannot say I don't know any of this. I have to just go and find the answer. And I have to run full speed while the other bankers are walking, so I can be almost on the same pace. The extra piece, what I have unique that I can offer to the table that no one else have. And then this, I became better at it because this is so unique about, what you can offer. If I come from the same background, probably I would just do the same thing. But I ask myself, what top 3, 4, 5 things I can do from my back experiences, my diplomacy, everywhere I was, that none of those bankers can do. And I found some, and they put me somewhere, like they help me to differentiate myself and help also specialists always like to put you in a frame, right? Yeah. We can talk a lot about that. So, you're out of the frame. Okay, now we understand why are you here.
I mean, this is so true when I speak to a lot of startup founders as well, right? Oftentimes, some of the most successful startup are the ones that are led by people that don't come from the original biases of their inherent industries. It's because they don't have the same assumptions that a lot of the standard industry giants have, right? And so they're coming at it from a new lens, a new approach of, hey, they literally physically will write down those assumptions and how am I going to test them and validate them, and is there a completely new way to reinvent it? And it sounds like that's kind of the approach that you've had at almost every chapter of your life. And then that's one aspect, which is, hey, while everyone's walking, I have to run to get there. That really resonates well, because what it means is if everything was on a level playing field, you just have to go faster to catch up to where they are. Exactly. That's one aspect. But then whatever the result is, you also have this continuous unconviction faith that everything is going to work out. And in a lot of the dealings or relationships, in business, it's like things work out sometimes. Yeah. And things don't work out sometimes. Exactly. And you just have to but the way I like to think about this and kind of my own experiences is that, you have to, if you are such a value add creative person, wherever you are, you're going to be okay. Right? Like if even if it doesn't work out in the way that you plan it or you plot it, you just have to reframe your thought and say, hey, exactly what you said when you were taking your test. Right? Did I do my part in preparing for this? Did I do my preparations? Yes. And if I'm not comfortable with the result, then is it about me or is it about trusting my creator? Exactly. And I'll honestly say this has been such an amazing discussion for me on a personal level, because there's so many lessons that I've learned just in this conversation. That's why Naveed's like, why does it have to talk? It's because honestly I think that this has been so pivotal in just the discussion. I'm literally just reflecting on my own experiences, and it's a lot of these things you do, but then when you hear it verbally and then you start to internalize it, it's very motivating. So yeah.
A few things that I kind of wrote down from what you were speaking is gratitude. And when we think about the word gratitude, we think it only comes down to saying, thank you, Allah, for this food and all these things, which is a form of gratitude. But gratitude in its most derivative form is acknowledgement. That it is not you in the driver's seat. And for you, it's been consistently having gratitude towards Allah that He is driving and that you're just on the passenger seat, right? And sometimes we let our success and our failures at times be an indicator that it is because purely out of our own doing, right? And I think it's really important that you constantly maintain that framework of whether it be wins or losses, that Allah is guiding me to something greater than I could ever imagine or fathom, right? 100%. And in terms of the idea of when you were talking about the questions that you were thinking, you were seeking guidance from Allah, and the inspiration was coming, and then you were writing it down. And then when you're going into the interview, subhanAllah, it's exactly what I was needing, right? But Allah tells us this, right? We're of all of one soul. We all come from one soul separated, right? So when we are having that form of tawakkul and trust in Allah, and you said it, right? It's as if they were connected to the source, right? And it's this mindfulness when we engage with the other people, is we are all connected to the same source. Exactly. And we have an obligation and duty to respect each other, because at the end of the day, we all need each other. Exactly. But are we showing up in the way that is, Islamically appropriate, right? Sure. And I think one thing that we sometimes think about, for example, my background, I studied nutrition and computer science. And one of the things that makes me a separator in my space is actually my nutrition background. It's not because we're talking about, hey, how much protein is in chicken or in eggs at 7 grams. But it's the fact that because of nutrition, I was a behavioral health coach. 100%. And that taught me empathy and understanding people and talking to people. In high school, I did journalism, 100%. Right? How do you interview people? How do you talk to people? Exactly. So when I take those things that does not relate to, hey, how do you do architecture in data centers or these types of things, those are all people I'm interacting with.
Yes.
And what separates me is the thing that does not make me related to them. And similar to you, you're not negating your background just because it's not relevant. And, you know, one of my friends is a photographer, and something that he says, like, I break all the rules of photography. And it's in that process that has gotten me the fame and attention that I have gone up to. Yes. And a lot of it's because it is in that breaking of rules that he realizes where the rules are.
Yes.
And sometimes not knowing is your advantage of going into the scene, because everyone's coming in a box and you're trying to figure out where is the box, right? True. And once you find it, then you can respect it. But sometimes people aren't able to think beyond in any capacity. So I think it's awesome how you do the framing of this, is that you're not looking at yourself as coming as a disadvantage, is that you're forcing yourself like, this is a blessing and I need to see it in that lens, right?
It was, I don't know what to say, but it took a long time because I was, did I waste those 5 years of chemistry and pharmacy and plus another 3 years working there and then starting from scratch? And then probably after diplomacy and starting in banking, did I do the right choice? Also a lot of questioning. Then after doing this for a few times, and now in my fifth life,
Alhamdulillah.
So I was like, and also looking at it from a coach perspective and coaching people and psychologically, I also wrote about it in my book, Time to Move On. We are not ants and bees. God created us to do different things in life. Mm-hmm. And I went back to the history of the Islamic civilization, the Renaissance Europe, Egypt, China, India, any big civilization, from my own personal perspective, was characterized by the big number of polymath, or what I call them career shapeshifters, like the current, norm is being career shapeshifters. So those people were the one who were crossing industries and expertise and domains. How many Islamic scholar that was doing 5 to 10 things
the cross-pollination, right?
A poem and a scientist and a chemist and different things, and a political leader, and looking at the history, I found that specialization is as a word, even in English, it's just a very new word. Is 150 years old or so, while a polymath is as old as our human history, because we always learn to cross boundaries. There were no boundaries, so we always learn to explore passions, going across different things, and the genius and the magic happens when you connect things, not staying in, So unfortunately, we live in a time where specialization is like the only way to succeed in life. And in my book, Time to Move On, I decided to bust 7 career myths that we all believed in. And it took me a long time to bust each one of them. It was very hard to, mentally see yourself out of this, right? Because you also, at the end, you have to conform with what people see and, define as success. But by flipping the script and unbusting and debunking each one of those myths, man, life is out of this specialization thing is fantastic, is wonderful. And God created us to do this, not to be like ants or bees. He created them to do the same job all their life. It's good for them. They're happy with it. They get a purpose done, and that's it. We are created in a different way to connect things together. So my big dream now, we have millions of people who are suffering in their careers. They are stuck in their careers. We heard about the Great Resignation, after the pandemic. Before that, there were like massive study that showed 85% of full-time employees, they hate their jobs. And then now we have AI that is even coming after all those specialized jobs to steal them from specialized people. So hopefully the big dream and the big vision is to help as many people to reinvent themselves and be career shifters, because that's the real control over your job, your career in general. if I would say.
Yeah, I mean, there's a phrase that we often say, but goes unfinished, which
Yes.
I'm sure
Yeah.
goes jack of all trades, but master of none, right?
Yeah, glad that you mentioned this because I talk about it in the book.
Yeah.
It was added later on,
Exactly.
for a reason.
Yeah.
So it's jack of all trade, but master of none that was added for political, economic reason. I don't know.
Yes. Yep.
And again, we're forced to believe that,
Yeah.
you're multi-talented but poor, if you stick to one thing.
Yep. And the quote actually ends with jack of all trades, but master of none, but it's often better than one. And so essentially say it's better to be someone who's diverse, because when you're just mastering only on one thing,
Exactly.
you're going to be very limited in scope, right?
Yes.
And it also makes you less relatable
Yes.
in a team setting. When you come in with and it's more than just like, I'm currently watching the Dallas Cowboys documentary right now, and really well led the team because they went almost 11 years of losing.
More than that.
Or more than that. Yeah, okay. Oh, come on. I gotta run this. And so what really shifted them to winning is that they says that it's what we did off the court. Mm-hmm. It's what made us connect more, whether it be swimming parties or barbecue or sharing each other's hobbies of like aquarium. Like Troy Aikman's talking about like him and Jimmy Johnson connecting was because of their love for aquariums, right? And that's leveled up their professional career, which led them to becoming reclaiming America's team again in that era. And that's what it comes down to ultimately is, are you being someone who is actively learning, or are you falling into the monotony of the same thing over and over, sure, which eventually bleeds into you're not being happy with your life. And so I think it is a very important mission to how do you reinvent yourself and giving
100%.
Yourself the permission
100%.
to reinvent yourself in a society that profits on monotony and staying in the same seat for extended periods of time.
Exactly.
So is that what you're doing now as a coach?
Coaching was mainly my fourth life, and now I thought, okay, if I was able to help thousands of people to do the same and reinvent themselves, there are millions out there are in need to do this. So how about scaling that through other different ways? And one of them is investment. So I'm part of an investment fund. We do invest in different categories, but also I'm so passionate about the future of work, and also how AI is changing the way we work. Because even if you are happy with what you have and you are fine, blah, 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 AI will not leave you alone and will come after your job, will steal it. So there are a billion jobs that would disappear 5-6 years from now. There are 1.12 billion people that need reskilling, right? And back to the journey itself, I found that the fastest way that I was able to do this reinvention was, after resetting myself and knowing why I'm doing this, reskilling. Mm-hmm. So I had to, what are the top 3 skills I have to learn to be successful in banking in the coming 3 months? No, even 3 weeks. I have to do very fast. Diplomacy. Like I was a pharmacist, and then I had to learn how to be a diplomat in practice, not in theory. What I need to have and do in very short time to be a successful diplomat. Whatever it is, writing report, how I speak, whatever it is, I have to learn it. So I figure out, and in the current situation right now, if AI is doing this change in a massive way, and they normally speak that every quarter probably would have 3 times the effect of the quarter before in terms of AI compilation and the AI intelligence and all of that. So how we can act fast enough to adapt with that change? Probably degrees, forget it. The fastest way is reskilling. The fastest way is to build methodologies and systems to support people in learning the right skills to reinvent themselves very quickly. I cannot wait for another 4 years to get a degree. Mm-hmm. It has to happen in 3 months, 6 months maximum, and learn as you do it. So
kind of like a boot camp structure.
Exactly.
That we kind of see with the tech
exactly.
revolution,
Very
right?
interactive boot camps, There are many ways to teach it, but boot camps is one of the best ways to learn a skill very quickly. But then also the orientation part is crucial, because people, oh, I'm stuck, I want to change, what shall I do, right? So the orientation is important. Like, and this I've done it in coaching. We could do it in 28 days. Is like, if you want to decide the next career, 28 days. If you just go through this process that I built, I call it the passion blueprint, you will come up with a couple of options. They were never in your mind, but you know, oh, yeah, you're right. Why? Because they keep repeating themselves in the process and the exercises that they make. And I can speak in details about this, but it's the idea, again, of diving deeper inside ourselves, knowing what we are passionate about, our personal values, having an ideal vision for our life, connecting everything with a purpose. If you are not purposeful in what you're doing, it's a catastrophe. So I also had to find purpose in every career, why I'm doing this, and if I have to fight back and prove, that I'm right, is to connect it with a big purpose.
Yeah, I think discovering that passion and purpose and that intersection is definitely what really keeps you in the race, right? Now, I'm curious to know a little bit more about this blueprint. Is that more, what kind of came to my mind is like this Myers-Briggs, personality, things like that. So is the blueprint, is that more so identifying you to a particular characteristic or feeling, or is it more so, you should pursue XYZ career?
Yeah, when I was starting the coaching business, I went back to all stops and stations in my life, trying to, what did I do?
Yeah.
What did I do right and wrong? And I created that methodology. And again, it applies to each one of us. Let's imagine we're here in New York. Sunday, you're going back to Dallas, right? Mm-hmm. We're driving a car together all the way back to Dallas. So it's a long journey. It will take, a few days, right? Mm-hmm. And we need a few elements in that trip. We need enough gas for the car. We need a GPS. And we need a final destination, right? Without enough gas, we'll stop somewhere in the middle. We'll never be able to go back. Without a GPS, we'll get lost, I don't know how many times on the way. And if you don't have a final destination, the GPS is not functional, right? Because you need to write down, a destination, an address, right? And so let's apply this on our life and our career. Enough gas means enough passion. If you don't have enough passion for what you're doing, you will run out of gas, you will be burned out, you will stop somewhere in the middle not knowing why. There are many manifestations of that, but if you go back to the origin, is you don't have passion for this anymore, or you don't have passion at all. We can talk a lot about passion, because I know it's one of the most disputed topics. Some people say, oh, it's for amateurs. It's, if you have a dream, you can do it. But I believe if you have enough fuel that will help you to go somewhere, you will not suffer. You will enjoy even what you're doing. A GPS is your personal values. There are a set of values that we all, grown up, absorbing and it's different situations. If you don't know your core values, you'll get lost. You will work somewhere that doesn't satisfy your values. If you know your values very well and connect those passions with those values, you are keeping your values close to your heart. Now, I will give example. If freedom is a value, don't tell me that you want to work in a 9-to-5 job, or that you want to work from the morning to midnight. You will never be happy, never be satisfied if freedom is one of your values. The final address or the final destination is an ideal vision of your life. If money is not a problem, if alhamdulillah I have everything I got, what should I be doing? What kind of lifestyle I want to have? What kind of dream house I want to have? How many? Where? And then it's tough because people don't give themselves, the freedom to visualize these things, because again, it's in God's hands, right? Mm-hmm. And if I'm just spend some time on understanding those desires, what I want to spend my time with, if it's charity or whatever it is. And then again, at the end, if you're able to connect your top passions your core values, your ideal lifestyle, you will, in the middle, as a three circles, they will intersect somewhere in the middle. And this is where you want to be in the coming few years. You know, it keep changing sometimes, and you keep have different circles, but to be mindful enough is to choose what's in the middle.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the identifying part. You know, there's a exercise that they have at Stanford Business School. It's like the Odyssey planning. I don't know if you're familiar with it.
Yes.
And it's an exercise that was really beneficial for me early in my career. It's like, what's my goal? Where am I trying to actually end up? And then working backwards from it. Now, you have changed your objective and career often. So when it comes to now identifying, going into like the venture chapter of what you're doing, how do you go about navigating, or how do you, like, what is your mindset when it comes to investing in businesses or, you know, supporting those who are creating and building?
Yeah, a different aspect of this. First of all, also, there is a level of freedom. I spoke about freedom as a value in this business. And there is a level of authority that you can have. And at some point in life, I took it from that perspective, is that we need as many good people in that space, because with a good vision, good intention, and a bit of experience in investing, plus the different industry expertise, there is a value that can be added. I was also in a different situation where I was a startup founder in my fourth life as well, and I dealt with investors that I didn't enjoy. They don't have empathy for the idea, for the dream, for the value of that. They look at founders as a number in a portfolio. Like if we have, how many founders, that's okay, I have successful 6 startups, 7 startups, that's a good number for the year. And I don't think, from a portfolio game, okay, but I don't think that's the right way to approach things. As an investor, you need to have empathy, you need to understand the industry, you need to be founder to go through those difficulties that, you have been through them before. And then the value that you add on the advisory level, on investment level also. So, and then with my previous lives as also investment banker, analyzing hundreds and thousands of deals. Like, I remember I was spending all the time just looking at deals, traveling to countries, bringing deals. At the end, we're making that interesting exercise. Probably 550 deals that I had to look at to have one approved by the board, like get all the approvals. So I had to go through 550 on average, hopefully good deals, to find one, So I learned a lot in that journey, and I'm adding to that. I learned a lot in my founding experience, and I learned a lot in building a coaching business. And as of now, if I'm able to add that value to startup founders from an advisory point of view, point them to the right directions. Like recently, for example, I was a judge in Columbia Business Lab, which is under Columbia Business School. And it's so fun because you get to give that feedback that help them to start the founders to go to the next level. I was also a coach they have a cohort is happening starting in September, and it's a prize of $5,000. And one of the ones I coach won the competition. So it's also, you feel the value that you're adding. It's like, wow, there's a good feeling,
Yeah.
I won this because, I feel happy for the founder that how she was able to progress and, be better. So in this life, kind of the culmination of things together. And when I have more freedom in my life, I will never go back to a corporate job. Never. Even if I'm suffering financially, la qaddar Allah, in the future, but I will never go back because I appreciate the freedom that I managed to build over the last few years. I know my values. I know the value add I can add, whether in coaching on a bigger level to help people reinvent their careers, investing in startups that support that, or also startup founders, mentoring and coaching, investing. I want to do more charity work because, for example, I the idea of supporting orphans has been always close to my heart. I'm sure you know that hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, أنا كافل اليتيم هاتين في الجنة, which means the one who support orphans with me in paradise, like this. So I had this always in the back of my mind. So when I was a teenager, I was giving from my pocket money. And when you give, God gives you back a lot. You give, God gives you back. And in my career journey, I give, God gives back. Alhamdulillah. So now the dream is getting bigger. How about doing much more than this? How about helping 1 million orphan kids to dream big about their lives and their careers, right? Because the society anywhere doesn't expect much from them. Like, okay, go to school, and even if you go to school, get a degree, work in a job. But to dream, probably not. So how? Through the coaching expertise, through all of that, to help them to dream, and dream big because they deserve it, and then help them to achieve those dreams. So building that's a whole support system. So back to your question, in this life, I want to have more freedom to do this type of work, because I don't want to be bound by one thing in life. I want to do the investment work, the advisory work. I want to write more books. Actually, yesterday I published a second book called Don't Live One Life. So I want to speak about this in details. I want to speak about that value of reinventing yourself. And then I want to spend more time on the orphan cause.
It's definitely very inspiring. And I think that particularly becoming an investor advisor, you have the ability to evaluate and look at a lot of different angles, right? You're not like pigeonholed to one specific industry or one specific problem. You're actually able to kind of expand on the experiences that you have, but utilize that to actually help a lot of these other founders in a couple of different areas. Yes. A question that I have is that as a managing partner, you usually need a lot of conviction before the market.
Yes.
And I think that's a hard skill set.
Yes.
One, to analyze, but then analyzing it way before everyone else does.
Yeah.
Is there a time where you've backed a founder or a thesis where this was prevalent, where no one else was willing to do that? And what was kind of the thought process that gave you that type of conviction to make that investment?
Well, I always believe what goes around comes around all the time, and it's a big circle of things circulating together, whether it's karma, blessing, money, everything. So if it's a pass for us as because of our investment thesis or whatever, or one of my partner maybe doesn't like it, I don't mind. I can support if I really like the idea, like the founders, and believe in there. I have to support in any way. So just give a couple of examples. Yesterday and the day before, I had 2 different conversations with 2 different people from different industries doing different things. One was an ex-professor of MIT lab, in MIT lab. And the guy has a brilliant idea. I wouldn't talk much about it, but there is something I can help here. Nothing much on the investment side, but there is something I can help here. So how I can make that connection? That's my part. Let me do that connection. Probably that guy can help to do that. The other team, to my surprise, is a I didn't know much about the industry, but very brilliant idea. So I love those new ideas that are wow, this is so interesting. And probably it's too early for us to be there. But how about that whatever business school that has this pitch, or that angel investor group that has this pitch by the end of September? So if you agree, I can pass that to those guys. And then I go and I pass it to those guys. So it's a good way to look at things. If it's not for me, if I'm able to help, I will definitely do that.
That makes complete sense. In terms of your venture fund, what is the stage of company that you're usually investing in, and what is like a good criteria set that you're the right profile for some of the startups listeners that might be listening?
We are a bit focused on later stage, like let's say Series A and beyond. We can sometimes look at seed in some cases, but pre-seed is too early for us. We have the focus more on Series A, B, and C. Also, the acquisition style is more in that. We look at manufacturing businesses, 3D printing, new technology, automation. Healthcare is something I focus on also personally. The future of work. And we have another vehicle that hopefully in the future we will work more on, and we give a bit of allocation from the whole fund to that vehicle that can look at pre-seed. I have seen in the world of pre-seed, a lot of immaturity in the ideas and dreams and non-practicality, and it's normal. It's very normal in the beginning. But I believe from Series A there is some traction, there is some ideas, and then there is value that you can add. Having said that, I do the advisory work pre-seed all the time. So I do the advisory work on one founder level, just idea, or a small team, or students, like all that level, because that part needs more guidance, advisory direction than anything else. And having been through all what I have been through, I'm happy to nail it down to them what you really have to focus on right now. Focus on this. Yeah, get it done.
It's also the most impactful time, right?
Yes.
Where you can provide the most value with taking some type of advice, because it might save someone months or even years of potential headache and time.
100%.
So it's definitely impactful. What do you think that a Muslim founder today needs to hear that no one's telling them?
I think as a Muslim founder, you have a big responsibility. You are representing a lot of backgrounds, including representing being Muslim. Mm-hmm. I believe every Muslim should be a good ambassador for his culture and for Islam. And Muslims should, play a bigger role wherever they are. Bigger role in terms of investing, in terms of being a successful founder, building an ecosystem that support them, and learning from other cultures, learning from other people how they support each other. And probably we need to step up and do more. I don't know. Unfortunately, I don't see all what we learn in our religion is manifesting in our daily life. All the values, amazing, when I see something happening, it's like, wow, my religion talk about this,
Yeah.
This is amazing.
Yeah.
Wow, this is wonderful. This is, so I feel we need to do much more. First, to represent ourselves in the best way, be proud of what we are and who we are, and what we are trying to do. Connect always ourselves to a big purpose, and help each other more. I think this is the most important thing. Help each other more, because we should learn from others. In different other cultures, you are one. You have to help 5 others to the business, or 6 others, or 7 others. So yeah, you should do this. We should do the same. You should help. If I do business, I have to help other 5, 7, 10 to also do business as well.
I mean, I think one of the things that makes this interesting is that when you help people, it just finds its way back. There's just random things that just end up, I mean, of course they're not random, but there's just more barakah in the experiences that you have, and somehow, some way it works itself out. And I was having this conversation with one of my close friends, and he has a truck, and so I was moving stuff around in the house, and I was like, hey, can I borrow your truck? And he was like, of course. I was like, of course you can have it. Anything that's mine that can be beneficial to you, you can ask for it at any time. Yes. This is an amana that I was given this truck.
Yes.
And if it can be beneficial to you as a friend, Allah khair, take it for the day. And that's exactly the example of we see the possessions that we have not as ours, but as a vehicle and vessel.
100%.
to be able to be leveraged for the betterment of the ummah. Exactly. And that's actually something very core to like what we try to emulate in this podcast and everything that we're involved with as well.
Which reminds me, I have to return your ladder.
It's okay, man. I've got one more question, and then Naveed, I think you can take us out. What's the most underrated founder trait that like really makes a differentiating individual in the investment thesis for you? Like, how do you know that this is the founder that's like, he gets it?
I cannot say one, but if I'm adding to the industry expertise, if I'm the one who know why I know and others don't, even including my investors, and a bit of persistence, I love to have somebody who have a vision for that industry. Like, I love to have somebody who see a vision of 5-10 years. Where do you want to see that industry is going? Because again, knowing your why is number one. And there are thousands of accelerator programs, incubator programs, and then this dream, that sometimes it's sold like, oh, you come and start a founder, and you find a lot of students and MBA graduates like, oh, I want to be a startup founder, but they don't know why, right? The journey is hard enough, to take something from an idea, or even before idea, to a scale and and sell or exit or whatever. So know your why before anything else. I think your why is number one. If you have a bit of expertise in industry, some persistence, and a vision, your why is your success.
So founders that are very clear about their own conviction of their purpose, their passion.
Yeah, exactly. Why I'm doing this.
And then the second, I think that thing that you said is founders that have a clear idea of their vision. Yes. And sometimes that may buck the traditional view of what the world's going to be. So like something that might just, hey, this is a new user behavior that I'm detecting. Yes. Thank you so much for the time. It's been a wonderful conversation. Honestly, it's been beneficial for me on a personal level. So I really appreciate your time, your sincerity, and your aura and your behavior. Honestly, it's been very inspiring conversation for me on a personal level.
Thank you so much for joining us on the Caravan podcast. From pharmacy to diplomat, and now a coach. You're not shy from reinventing yourself, and alhamdulillah, you're teaching us on how to do the same. You're a managing partner at Blue Nexus Venture, as well as now starting Passion MBA, helping professionals reinvent themselves, suffering from burnout in their jobs, and being to rekindle and discover their passion. Mustafa Ammar, thank you for joining the Caravan podcast.
Thank you so much.
Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you so much.